Right, guys, we're back again. Not with a championship roundup this time, but there's been two massive fights that have been announced since the weekend. So we thought we'd bring them and give you a preview to both those fights. They're quite interesting for both of the divisions that they're going to be taking place in. How have you been, Sam? It's boiling. You can see Sam's in a vest. He's got a new tattoo as well. Show off the tattoo. Elvis Presley. Jeez.
You know about Elvis? What you know about Elvis? Yeah, so it's been hot in the UK. I don't know what else to say. It's been hotter than America.
Hotter than Brazil. And speaking of Brazil, that brings us on to our first fight. We've got the Brazilian Charles Oliveira confirmed to go against Islam Makhachev in Abu Dhabi later on in the year. October time, is it?
Yeah, and technically this is for the title, isn't it? Technically.
Yeah. So I think Dana's confirmed as well that Charles will be getting pay-per-view points for this fight, which is good to hear. But a massive fight. I know Dana was pushing for Islam versus Beneil. Doesn't look like that could have happened because of Beneil's injury earlier on in the year. What are your thoughts, then? Do you think this is the fight they just had to make, or do you think Dana would have preferred to make that fight first?
I think which fight first, the Islam and Dariush?
Yeah.
I think I think this was the fight to make. Personally, I feel like Oliveira now, as it stands, beat Poirier, beat Gaethje, beat Chandler. I think the only guy looking is going to present a different sort of threat is Islam. So I feel like, okay, we could have watched the Dariush fight, and if he lost, then where's that? Who would? Well, then Dariush should have gone for it. I don't know, but or whatever, it is what it is now. But this is a fight that presents a different strategy. We're going to see something different than Chandler, Gaethje, and Dustin. Would you say they're a similar sort of fighter? Like to keep it standing, like to stand and bang a bit. Whereas Islam's totally opposite, get it down to the floor.
Yeah, I'll say the most versatile two fighters he's probably fought in like the recent time is probably Ferguson, who people were saying his jiu-jitsu is good on the floor, etc. And then obviously you've got Michael Chandler, who's a fucking explosive wrestler as well. I think those two styles were slightly different. With Gaethje and Poirier in the last two fights, he's had people who just want to stand and trade with you on the feet. They don't really want to go to the ground. This is going to be, it's basically going to be on the ground. It's whether or not Islam can manage to take Oliveira down, whether Oliveira is happy to be on the ground with Islam, or would he prefer to try and keep it standing? Yeah. I personally think that there are more routes to victory for Charles Oliveira in this fight. But the only thing is, Islam and Khabib, they had that like pressure where it doesn't allow you to execute your game plan. They'll like smother you and drain you. And like, I just think for Charles, it's going to be a long night, especially if it stays on the ground, because we've seen before the jiu-jitsu in MMA is not always effective when it comes against like Sambo and stuff. So yeah, I can see how Charles could get absolutely smothered on the ground, but I also think on the feet he's got a big advantage over Islam.
Yeah, I agree. Islam has been stopped once, and that was by was it TKO or KO on the feet? It was a straight KO, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he got knocked out, didn't he?
Yeah, straight out. So I think Oliveira striking. His Muay Thai's got. I love his teeps. He keeps it long, and he has got power. He's dropping people. He has got power, even though it doesn't look like it. He has got power. So I think you're right with. I think the kicks, punches, Muay Thai, everything on the feet is Oliveira's really. Islam's just gonna go out there and do one thing, and I think he's gonna stick to it. I think he's gonna be able to get him down. I feel like he will be able to get him down either using the cage. I feel like he's got that option, or I think he's got better. All the Sambo guys are good against the cage. They look to pressure back onto the cage and use the cage for the takedown. And once
one interesting thing that I saw, was that Islam has one of the lowest significant strikes absorbed in the UFC. So he doesn't take many shots standing up.
Fighting though.
That's another big point. This is something you were bringing up beforehand as well. The caliber of fighter that Islam has fought is not on the same level as Oliveira. We were just going through his resume then. He's got Dan Hooker at short notice, Thiago Moises, Drew Dober, and Bobby Green, which was a last-minute fill-in as well. So has he really faced that level of competition? The only thing I would say is, obviously, he trains at AKA, and they've got some killers there. they have killers passing through as well. So he
And
would have faced it.
They always say Islam is same level as Khabib,
Mm.
which I don't agree with personally. From what I've seen from his certain performances, like you said, Khabib was more aggressive. We've seen Islam be aggressive against Hooker, but in other fights, he doesn't seem to have that same finishing, ground and pound, submission ability as Khabib. But that doesn't matter. What matters is can he finish Oliveira? I don't think so, but I think he can stop Oliveira doing anything and grind him out with some nice ground and pound. For it be a 5-round lay and pray, won't be the best, most interesting fight, but I think that is going to be the game plan.
So you're going a decision victory for Islam?
Yeah.
Right, it's early at the moment. Obviously, we have to see things like the weight cut and like the stare downs and stuff like that, because they give you a little bit. But my initial prediction for the fight is going to be a lot of pressure in the first couple of rounds from Islam. I think if Islam can finish him in the first 2, he'll win. If not, I think as the fight progresses and he struggles to put away Oliveira on the ground, I think he's going to get caught with something stupid at some point. So I'm going Charles Oliveira by submission, either round 3 or 4. That would be my bet. Lock it in, lads.
It's interesting.
Lock it in if you want to lose money. Lock it in.
No, I feel like it's interesting because it's just something. Anyone that poses a different threat, for example, the Pereira fight is interesting for me for Israel, but this is just different than he's fought the last 3-4 title defenses that he's had. It's a totally different matchup, and I don't think to be honest, I don't think it's going to be an exciting matchup, but it's going to be interesting. If you're into grappling, I think you need to tune in. Sambo versus.
Yeah, but I feel like, with Charles, his fights are always exciting, man. Like even the ones where you don't think they're going to be particularly exciting, I feel like they always end up being quite exciting. I can see it kind of being more like a Tony Ferguson kind of fight, like his versus Tony Ferguson, but Oliveira probably on the bottom, having to try and survive.
Do you think Oliveira could get back up, or do you think it's just gonna be to get out of the wrestling of Islam? He's gonna throw up submissions to sort of.
I think he'll attempt some submissions just to make Islam think twice about taking him down. Like I think it worked with Gilbert Burns versus Hamzat as well. He threatened the armbar and it made Hamzat think twice about then wanting to take him down again. I think if he gets caught in something and it's close, I think he'll put that fear in Islam's mind as well when he's on the ground.
Yeah.
But then I do think if he's fearful of trying to go for a finish on Charles, he's going to do what you say and just lay and pray. He's going to do a Bilal Muhammad, basically. So,
what do you say about Bilal Muhammad?